but it is completely an honorary designation. You can do whatever you want to your property, whatever, as far as the local jurisdiction will, there's established design guidelines, and it's a local issue, but it has nothing to do with the National Register. Like Billie Jean said, New Albany is a CLG, a certified local government, so they can qualify for historic preservation grants from the National Park Service, which Billie Jean applied for 2 years ago and got the grant to do phase 1, which was in Northside. And then this year she got the other grant, another grant to do phase 2, which is on the south side. So once we finish this survey, then we will combine the existing downtown historic district and add north side and south side to that. I mean, this will be a huge National Register district. Basically, the whole town will be a National Register district, which is really, really exciting because I've throughout my career, I just see a lot of benefits that come from National Register. People just take a lot more pride in their neighborhood and their own property, and I just think it's a really great program. But there are some links there if you want to go and do some research about what it means for property owners. And at the end of, before it's listed on the National Register, the Mississippi Department of Archives and History will come down and meet with the neighbors. I assume, I'm not sure how the notifications to the neighbors will go, whether it will be like a public notice or if every property owner will receive some sort of letter. But y'all will be notified and be offered an opportunity to opt out of the National Register. But that's something that will be discussed with the neighborhood back sometime maybe in March, June, and then it'll go to the State Review Board in July of next year for their approval, and then to the National Park Service. So it's a very lengthy process. We're at the very beginning right now, so we're just working on the survey work. Somebody else saw me today walking around and photographing. So that's what we are doing now, and then we'll come back. Excuse me, I'm like getting over the and then when we get back to the office, we'll prepare a historic resource survey form for every property, regardless of its age, and that develops a very detailed inventory of every property in the neighborhood. Priorities for preservation, any individual properties that might be individually eligible for the National Register, so survey forms will be prepared for all the properties. Y'all will get a hard copy. The Mississippi Department of Archives and History will get a hard copy of each survey form. And then we'll prepare a report. And that is last year's report if you want to flip through it. It gives you an idea of what we're looking for. We included brief historic background, document the patterns of development of the neighborhood over time. And then we detail distinct architectural forms and architectural styles, kind of a overall degree of integrity of the buildings, how much alterations are done, and then we'll make recommendations for the National Register. So the boundaries might be adjusted based on the results of our survey a little bit. Areas that have a lot of non-historic buildings or demolished buildings, we might think about removing from that district that we would nominate to the National Register. And then some other preservation recommendations that one thing that we've seen common these days, and it's still a lot of fun, is identifying specific buildings within the historic district and creating a GIS story map. Have you ever seen them? They're very neat. So it's kind of a GIS based. You can use it on your iPad and you walk by and you see a QR code and you can just scan the QR code and I'll show pictures of the property and a little history of the property. And so we're working on one of those in Ohio right now, which has been a lot of fun. I've never done it before. So those are just some other kind of recommendations. I'm sorry? What's it? Oh, okay. Yeah, it's really neat, and it just kind of goes with changing times, you know, everybody's got their phone with them at all times now. And then since COVID, everybody's got the QR codes to scan menus, and now everybody's can scan a store property.
What we're really doing is capturing the history of the neighborhood.
Yeah, 100%.
I thought about the little town in Hawaii that burned just recently, and thinking if they had not done this, there's no history of that town.
Yeah.
And now we're preserving the history on both sides of the town.
Very important. So this is always the first step, and then making recommendations for future preservation initiatives, particularly planning, you know, going into design guidelines and establishing local historic districts. This is, you know, sometimes that first step towards making change at the local level. So I'm happy to be here. I had a blast last year and back, and it's been beautiful today. So Jill, I'm meeting with you tomorrow, correct? Okay. So if anybody has any, you know, knowledge, history about their particular property, or want to reach out, I've got business cards, and then my contact information is on that. But I'd love to hear any stories you have about your properties, and just, you know, your time here in the Southside neighborhood.
Did you do BL4 today? The school?
Well, I don't take pictures of when children are around, so I just photographed both of the schools on it right before the meeting.
Okay.
So yes, I did have to get permission from the Boys and Girls Club because they had some youngins running around.
Right.
I got the pictures.
So inside the gym,
I did not.
you did
Wait, which gym?
the Boys and Girls
Oh,
Club
okay.
gym.
Okay.
Because when you say it's as is.
Is it?
Yeah. So it's pretty, to me, I think it's pretty fascinating.
Yes. That's cool.
It's an old wood gym, wood floors, wood ceilings.
Do you know what about the gym just north of the Albany school? What if it's a middle school?
Memorial.
Yes. Yes. Is that pretty good intact on the inside? Because the outside, the windows, it looks like they've covered up windows on the outside. I should be
If the upper floor is as is, they did do the bottom floor, took the bleachers out.
Slide out bleachers.
And slide out bleachers. But the other
basement too, a big
Oh,
basement,
wow.
Yeah.
because they were gonna do a swimming pool there, but
Oh.
that never happened, but the basement's, the hole's still there, and I think there's maybe.
Dr. May's house would be something different.
Okay. Which one is that?
Grandparents redid it in the 70s.
I just saw a picture of that house. The floor, it looked like,
Really?
yeah, Bill's got.
Really?
That would be very nice.
Okay, well, it was real.
It was a shed.
The Dr. A's office. Okay.
Well, this was when it looked nice.
When Daddy bought us in the 70s.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive into all of it.